How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. And today you find me in a 2019 plate mini convertible Cooper S. Now clearly the weather is not going to allow me to enjoy this convertible nature of this car today. That's a real shame. But in a recent video, which you go check out, I drove the equivalent to this from Abarth. I drove the 595 competition Abarth, or Competizione, whatever you want to call it. And in that video, I really enjoyed that car. There were so many good things about it. The attention to detail in particular was amazing. I thought it was lovely around city streets like this. It just did the job so beautifully. However, I wasn't that big a fan of it when it came to the kind of hot hatch vibes. It wasn't a proper hot hatch. It didn't give me that kind of serious hot hatch feel that I want when I'm driving a car like this. Well, for around the same price as that Abarth, I could have one of these instead. And what I want to know is it better than the Abarth? Is it a better driver's car than the Abarth? What should I spend my money on? Let's find out. I have to address the elephant in the room with this car, obviously, and that is that it's an automatic. It's not the ideal one-to-one comparison. I suppose if I was in a manual instead, maybe I'd get more of the engagement, but I'm gonna try not to let that cloud my judgment of this car's hot hatch abilities. It might be difficult when I get onto some more dynamic roads, but we shall see. But as we drive through some city streets, I feel like I need to mention that currently it's way more comfortable than the Abarth. It's just that bit less harsh, and I don't mind a harsh ride at all. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound on a harsh ride. Like, I love a car that is set up to not really be that good on the road, but to be amazing around a track. This is giving me a lot more of a chilled out vibe, and I'm enjoying that. I mean, I've even got my hand on the armrest here. I'm driving like a trucker right now. And as I said, the thing that really inspired me about that Abarth was the quality, like the attention to detail. It really was amazing. And in this, there's a lot of similar stuff. There's like this faux carbon fiber trim here, which maybe isn't quite as cool as some of the stuff that you get in the Abarth. A lot more plastic and that kind of stuff. So I'd say maybe the build and the attention to detail isn't quite at the same level. Right off the bat, as a daily driver, this thing would be ideal. I mean, honestly, I'm cruising along comfortably for, again, my type of lifestyle as a city living person. This does the job beautifully. Don't need to worry about anything. I feel like I'm in comfort way more than I am in aggression. The Abarth had those really aggressive Sebelt sports, like bucket seats. Yes, they're not as comfortable as these lovely JCW ones, I'll be real, but it felt like it was supposed to be a performance car from the get-go. Like, immediately I felt like I was in something performance related. I had a nice big sport button right here that I'd press the sport button, that's it. Like, I'm in go mode. This has none of that. This feels to me like your average Mini uprated, if that makes any sense. I'll be honest, I'm not the type of guy who's about to buy a Mini convertible. It's not to my liking. However, Emily, my lovely wife, probably would enjoy driving one of these around, like, very comfortably. This would be like ideal for her. Looks a bit more special, feels a bit more special inside. Get the roof down, chill with your mates. More legroom in the back than in the Abarth as well. Boot's still tiny, wouldn't work for me as a golfer. And it sounds kind of good too. Even at slow speeds, it's got a little bit of a rasp to it, like a wah when you blip the throttle. Right, so let's chuck it into manual / sport mode. And as we come onto this next section of road, we'll just give her a little blip and see what she feels like. Get that window up because it splashes water in my face. It sounds better with the window up than with the window down. I think it's feeding some of that sound into the cabin. I might be wrong about that, but it feels like that's what it's doing. It does sound kind of good though. Like, straight away I could feel it was way more quick than the Abarth, and pending, I need to do some more driving on some twisty lanes and stuff, which we'll get to in a second. But I do think that it's a bit more agile than the Abarth as well. I feel like I feel more like in tune with the steering wheel. My big problem with the Abarth was that I didn't feel like I was relevant to the wheels. Like, I just didn't know what was going on. In this, straight away I can kind of feel it. A little bit, but we'll try some of these corners at a bit of pace. In the rain, of course, so we have to be careful. It's definitely much more, I can understand it so much better straight away. Yeah, really, like straight, I mean, I've only done a few corners it definitely has more feel. I can tell more when the car's weighting up versus when it's not weighting up and whatever. Like, it's not just some crazy stiff steering for the sake of it. So we've gotten past the biggest letdown of the Abarth. That's one good thing. I would say that this automatic gearbox is average, like as in it changes perfectly fine in terms of like quickness, but I don't know why you'd get one of these in automatic if you were a driver, like a driving enthusiast. Just get a manual, bang it through the gears properly, and you'll probably have more fun than this. If you were a city driver, this car was an absolute beaut to drive around those city streets. So I think, yeah, if that's what you're into and you just plan on driving around the city all the time, then why not go for an auto? It does the job beautifully. Like I'd have no problem with running around in one of these as an auto. In fact, as I'm stuck in some traffic, I'm going to put it back into drive and just let it do its thing for a bit, because I don't need to worry so much. It's definitely not as good looking as the Abarth, in my opinion. I mean, honestly, like, I feel like I would potentially even drive that Abarth. Like, I'd own that Abarth on a day-to-day, even though it's a convertible and it's a little bit, like, less masculine than you might expect. But this, like, I just can't imagine owning a car that looks like this. It just doesn't do it for me. I've always been a bit of a new Mini, not a hater, but I'm certainly not an enjoyer. I feel like, I know badges are just badges and they don't mean anything really, but I love the old Minis. I love what they stand for. I love what their idea is. If I was to review this car as like a mini, like as in comparing it to other Minis, and I'd have an old Mini in a heartbeat over one of these. So I don't think that's a fair way of reviewing this car. This is way faster, more planted, better put together, all those kinds of things than any kind of old Mini would be. Certainly better on a day like today. I'd be probably dealing with water ingress in a in a normal Mini. I say normal, in a classic Mini. But it's better for me to compare it to other hot hatches that I've driven, and like, just from like a quality perspective, I'd say it's a similar level of quality, if not slightly better than the A45 AMG, at least on the interior. I feel like it's way more in line with the price. This is about the same price as that A45 was that I drove, and I definitely prefer the interior in this. It feels more real in more places. It's definitely plasticky, but it just feels better. It's so much more dynamic than the Abarth was. I do think that's BMW talking. I just feel like you got Fiat versus BMW here making a dynamic hot hatchback, and BMW have won in that instance. I can just feel so much more of the car. When I turn the car into a corner, I feel like I've got the confidence to know when I'm gripping and when I'm not, and I just feel like I didn't get that in the Abarth at all. It's not the most engaging hot hatch I've ever driven. I mean, again, for half the price I could get a GTI and it would do way more for me from a hot hatch fun perspective, and it'd be faster as well. So it's kind of in this weird middle ground, because it's not as attention to detail focused as the Abarth, but it's not as hot hatchy as a GTI, so it's somewhere in the middle. Feels very comfortable at speed. Like, it just feels really just planted, comfortable, chilled out. For me, this is way more of a usable car than that Abarth. For roads like this, for days like today, for driving on the motorway. Yeah, it's quick, it's comfortable, it's a hot hatch. What more do you want? I feel so much more confident in this. I didn't feel like I could push the Abarth at all. It makes a nice sound. I even like the pedals, to be honest. The pedals are fine. I would prefer to have it as a manual. Good little car, good little car. Sorry, some fun corners. I got lost. Another fun corner. Yeah, way better, way better. My gosh, it doesn't even. There's no competition. If you're looking for a more driver-focused car, I've genuinely enjoyed driving this today. This has been really fun to cruise around in. I'm a big fan of this. If you're looking for a car that's more flashy, get the Abarth. That's my thought process. Simple as that. So we are back at Motorland, and I have quite an interesting conclusion to this video. That is the Abarth I drove in my previous review video, and that is the Cooper S I've just stepped out of. And somehow, please don't ask me why, even though I've driven both of these cars and I've given a way better review to this one than I have to that one in terms of driving, and 100% this is the better car to drive, if I had to choose one to own tomorrow, I'd take that one. And the reason being is pretty simple. I just love the attention to detail on that Abarth. I saw way more, I actually saw about 3 of these out on the roads whilst I was recording them, and I saw none of these. But all of the ones of this that I saw looked nothing, I mean nothing, like this. This is just like a one of a kind, and every other one I saw on the road was a one of a kind. These are 10 a penny in my head. And well, yes, I think that would be the perfect car to buy for my wife, for example. She'd have a great time driving it around, and if I had to drive it too, I'd have a good time driving it around as well. Neither of these cars are enough of a driver's car for me to say that I would buy it for the drivability. It's a great car, it's super fun to drive, etc., but it's not that much more amazing than that. But that has so much more attention to detail. So a bit of a strange ending then. I'm trying to find a shot where I can get both cars in the background, but yeah, it really is a lovely car to drive, super comfortable on the interior. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed driving it. Huge thanks for watching. To the patrons for their support, do click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and click on screen to catch my video on the Abarth.